What is going on, everybody? Trying to make sure that the lighting is okay. Hopefully, you can hear me on the mic okay. What's going on, Alex? Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Would appreciate a like on this chat. That way, it's going to spread this out to more Buffs fans. I know that this is normally a little bit late for, I feel like the majority of my audience, to be quite honest with you, is on the East Coast. But I wanted to get this out tonight again. Got a few things to talk about. Let's talk about the Big 12. Also, want to talk about my new channel that's coming out tomorrow. Wanted to give you guys the early access to go ahead and subscribe to that if that's something that you're interested in. But first off, let me know if you're in the chat. Want to say hello. Again, hi, Alex. Hope you're doing well. Legend LX. Good to see you as always. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, again, I don't normally. Oh, it's only 10:33. Awesome. And I feel like East Coast people, they're always staying up late. They're always staying up later. I mean, my cousin, when he was living in Brooklyn, he said he won't eat dinner till like past 10 p.m. every day, anyways. So hopefully this isn't too much out of your routine. You guys watch sports late, anyways. But let's get into this. This is something that I'm going to provide from the local perspective that y'all aren't hearing with all this Big 12 news, all this Big 12 hype that's happening right now in the national media with CU and Coach Prime. And again, we've heard it all. From sources saying nothing's happening to sources saying something's happening. We've had Rick George a couple months ago said there's absolutely no truth to CU leaving for the Big 12, but then you saw last week he said, well, we got to see what the deal is like. We got to do what's best for the university. That was a slight change of tone from how we've seen Rick George talk about this previously. And again, this media deal, it expires, well, for football, it expires here in 6 months, but it expires next July 1st of 2024. The clock is ticking. And here's the deal. We've only seen national media people come out here and talk about how the Big 12 is talking to CU and yada, yada, yada. This is the first time today Eric Goodman, who works for Mile High Sports, a local reporter here, came out and tweeted today, I put this on my Twitter, that he said from a very reliable source he knows that these conversations between CU and the Big 12 have been happening for quite some time now, and that Coach Prime is, quote, more than open, end quote, to joining the Big 12. This is a big deal because this is the first time that I've heard anybody from local media kind of go out on a limb, stake their claim, say they have sources, say they know this is coming. Because again, guys like Dennis Dodd, they don't have to see these people every day. A lot of these local media people, they have relationships to make sure that they cultivate and maintain. They have trust that they need to maintain with these programs, whether they're pro or college, that they follow. And this is a big deal. So, yeah, it's something that I'm very excited about. And again, now there is smoke in terms of local beat reporters like Brian Howell or Adam Munster-Tiger talk about this. The only thing that I've seen them talk about is the potential of what they're hoping that a Pac-12 media deal looks like. Haven't had anybody else talk about what it looks like on the Big 12 front until today. So take that news for what it's worth. I think anytime someone in the local media that's coming out here saying something like this, this is a big deal, and we have to pay attention to it, because at the end of the day, guys like Dennis Dodd or I'm trying to think of somebody else from the other perspective that I can't right now, John Canzano, they don't have to see Rick George, they don't have to see Coach Prime in the flesh. So let's get into it. All right, a few comments here. Legend LX says he hasn't heard anything yet about the Big 12. Well, here you go. I guess I'm breaking some news to you. Green Creole, good to see ya. Says, wow. Air Teeth says Colorado has the leverage. Absolutely. Again, you can't just look at this market when it comes to the Big 12. when you're evaluating, I guess, the media market for Colorado. It's not just the local state area anymore. This is going to be a national audience watching this team, and the numbers are going to prove that. And I'm almost wondering, yeah, like, does Rick George and Coach Prime, do they use this year to show their TV numbers? Because, again, we still have a TV deal this year in the Pac-12 with main networks. You know, we're going to be on ESPN. We're going to be on Fox. You know, do they just go into this year and say, hey, look, we proved it to you. We're a big market. Now let's see if we can get the other conferences involved. But right now, realistically, it only looks like the new Big 12. And I want to talk about it as kind of the new Big 12 because, again, a lot of our old-time rivals, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Texas, they're out of there. Nebraska is out of there. But we got to look at this as a new conference. And there's potential, I think, for some good rivalries to develop. One, because we're already taking some of these guys that belong to this conference. Let's talk about Alton McCaskill coming from Houston. They're entering the Big 12. Let's talk about, TCU. There's a big possibility for a TCU rivalry to develop with CU just because we've already had those out-of-conference home and homes happening starting last year. Of course, we got this big game this year. This is setting the groundwork for some rivalries to develop within this conference because at the end of the day, CU has not had rivals in the Pac-12. We just don't. We've been too bad. But now we're going to be getting transfers from these schools. We're going to be beating them in their home state. Like, let's look at Texas. We're going to be beating guys out to come to CU that, traditionally would be going to these other Big 12 schools. That's a big deal. I mean, let's talk about Texas Tech. One of the originators of traditionally of the air raid offense with Mike Leach. We're going to be playing and running a system that branches out from that offense. You're going to have two high-tempo, high-octane style offenses going at it with each other. How can you not love that? Let's talk about mountain rivalries. I mean, BYU's got a big national fan base. And, I mean, they're right over there in Provo. I think there's definitely a potential for new rivalries to develop here in the Big 12. Central Florida, we're talking about prime time, making sure they go to Florida. That's going to happen, or that's going to help with recruits, making sure that their extended family and friends can always get to a game out in UCF every other year or so. So, yeah, it's exciting, man. I love this. Who is all in the Big 12? Well, I guess I'll name it off right now as fast as I can. West Virginia, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, who's a traditional rival from the old Big 12. We'd be able to kick that back off with them. That's important. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor, University of Houston, UCF, University of Central Florida, and BYU. Now, would I expect Colorado to come over here alone? No. If we do that, then the conference is uneven. I think at least another school would join us. Maybe it's Arizona, maybe it's Utah. My guess would be one of those Arizona schools. So that's who it seems to be like the most smoke around, so to speak. So this is, this is exciting stuff. I'm going to read a few more comments here. Legend LX says, has there ever been a bigger hire than Coach Prime in college history? Be honest, absolutely not. He resurrected the entire athletics department here at CU. We were dead in the water. We were talking about going back to, down a level to Mountain West because we just didn't even know if we were going to take athletics seriously moving forward. He has changed everything, and that's why in a results-oriented business, he has already delivered more results than we could ever imagine. He deserves a raise. He deserves to be one of the top paid college football coaches in college football right now without even coaching one down yet in Power 5 college football because no other Power 5 college football coach could come in here and resurrect this thing. Nobody. That's fact. Nebraska's going to be good. No. What's Power 5? So Power 5 is the 5 major conferences in college football. That is the Big 12, the Pac 12, the Big 10, the SEC, and the ACC. And traditionally, they've been regionally based conferences in college athletics. That is out the window now. These are all growing to be more nationally based conferences where, we play each other every year. And man, there was something else I was going to say with this, and I lost my train of thought. So maybe one of y'all can remind me about that. Alex, I think I might do a reality TV show here in a bit, but I guess that's a good segue to, Nesimo's, good to see ya. That's a good segue. In the description, I have a link to my second channel that I have opened called Let's Talk Hoops. It's going to be a collaboration account. I just filmed my first episode today with my good friend Nick, talking all about Nuggets Heat NBA Finals, a few other different topics. If NBA and basketball is something you're interested in, please subscribe to that. The channel link is in the description to this, and you'll be the first ones to see our first video that's going to be released tomorrow. I still have to edit it tonight, but you're going to see a lot more collaboration. You're going to see me doing kind of one-off individual videos similar to how I do it here at David Talks Buffs. It's just going to be a little bit different of a feel with Nick on there too. So hopefully you enjoy it. Please subscribe if that is something that you're interested in. But let's get back to the Colorado possibility at going Big 12. I mean, a lot of potential for rivalries to develop here with these new schools coming in. And these are okay, there's been an argument, and I've been on this side as well, saying, well, these academic institutions, they're not as good as where CU is at. And that's primarily true. But there's a shift now. That is how we approach things moving into the Pac-12, and the fact that we didn't want to kiss UT's butt anymore. They're out of there. But now there's a shift. There is a shift in priority where they're taking athletics seriously, and so I feel like they're looking at, this is, again, just my speculation and my thoughts, they're looking at this athletic conference as purely an athletic conference. At the end of the day, Coach Prime does not want to be stuck on streaming, which that is what it's looking like for the Pac-12 media deal. What the Big 12 offers, again, and I would much rather want an SEC invite or a Big 10 invite, who wouldn't? But that's just not realistic from anything that we've read or heard right now. The Big 12 provides stability in terms of making sure we get that important exposure on linear television, the best television time slots compared to what's been rumored for the Pac-12. And again, you're playing football in the areas of the country that care about football the most. You're in the South, and that's what's important. You're playing games in Texas. You're playing games in Florida right now. So that whole thing is so important for what Coach Prime is building. And again, I didn't think about this initially, 6 months ago. But Brett Yormark and Coach Prime could really be a powerful promotional couple, or a power couple or duo, however you want to put it, promotional partners. Brett Yormark is aggressive. He goes against the grain. He's not afraid to risk and to try new things and go against tradition. I mean, what better way to describe the last 6 months at CU with Coach Prime in Colorado, am I right? Days to come. What's good, family? Thanks for checking in. I approve. I'm getting all jumbled up. I appreciate you chiming in the chat. But yeah, Nesimo's, two marketing geniuses, absolutely. And I think the possibilities are limitless. And it's so funny, man. I've started to bookmark this on Twitter. All the people that are saying, why would they even want to move to the Big 12, or why would the Big 12 even want them if Prime's just going to leave here for the SEC and the Big 10 here in 2 years anyways? Well, I mean, I guess you can call me a homer, but I don't think he's coming here putting the work that he's putting in with the control that he has, and he's leaving in 2 years. I think, like Coach Prime's going to have a sustained run here at CU. And again, if you're wanting to get into that Big 2 kind of conference, this is the right step to eventually get there if they want to get there. I would also argue that CU, if I'm looking at all these teams, they have the potential to kind of be the top dog in the Big 12 very quickly. They have the chance to kind of be that dominant team at the top of that conference, especially with the gap now that is left with OU and Texas out of there. So Days to Come says, how would that affect recruiting? Hey, it only gets better from here. We've had a lot of our recruits come from Florida, and that's only going to continue to increase. I mean, the pipeline's just starting there because of Prime's roots there in Florida. But with Texas, I mean, we've gotten some good Texas players, but it's only going to be strengthened when, we're going to play multiple games there every year in Texas. And again, a lot of, if you're looking back at the Coach Mack days, the two states they primarily recruited in their Big 12 days were successful at and built that powerhouse in the late 80s, early 90s. It was California and it was Texas. And we lost those Texas roots, those Texas connections when we left for the Pac-12, and we weren't good enough to recruit California with the other competitive teams in the Pac-12. And it kind of left us in a dead zone in terms of recruiting. So this is going to be really important, I think, for the long-term future of recruiting because, again, CU is going to have the right exposure, and they're going to be traveling and playing football in states that really care about football. And as much as I love the Pac-12 destinations, like they're cool cities to go to if you were to road trip and do one of those away game trips. But at the end of the day, man, like the western part of the United States, we do not love football as much as the South does, or some of this Big Ten country. Let's just be real. I mean, you can name, college or pro sports, the amount of like insane fan bases from the Mountain and Pacific time zones on your hand, or on just like one hand. I'm trying to think about it. I mean, you got Lakers fans, you got the Raiders. I would put the Broncos in there. But outside of that, I can't really think of. It's just culturally, it's just different, and it's important for CU to put themselves in front of the right audience and have the right exposure. And again, with this Big 12 media deal, or with this Big 12 potential to join in this conference, be part of this media deal, you're going to be playing games in the Eastern and Central time zones, and that's important. So I'm going to go here for 2 more minutes. I need to get out of here. I have my wife give me a time cutoff because sometimes I get sidetracked with y'all. But I know this is a little bit later of a chat, but overall, I just want to come on here and say that I'm excited that, again, this Dennis Dodd article, it's nice. We've heard this before from Dennis Dodd, I feel like every other week, but what I want y'all to take from this is that Eric Goodman from Mile High Sports, someone in the local media here, he has gone out now publicly. It says that he has a very reliable source in the CU program that says conversations with the Big 12 have been happening for months. And that doesn't mean that it's a surefire thing that this is going to happen. But like I said, like a month or 2 ago or whatever, if CU is not having these conversations, they're not doing their jobs right. If Brett Yormark is not targeting schools like CU, he's not doing his job right. It makes sense that these conversations, these conversations that we've speculated that were happening are actually happening, and that's a positive step. Because CU isn't going to hire Coach Prime, and I don't think Coach Prime comes here, to be honest, if he gets this vibe from CU that they want to stay committed to the Pac-12. And again, I mean, Coach Prime gets his way here. That's just it. He out of all the coaches that we've had over the last 15 years or whatever, he was the one that was able to get the academic restrictions lifted. He was the one getting getting the athletic department and the academic department to extend, what they're allowing on the academic end in terms of transfers. He has all the freedom and creativity to run the program how he wants, to market it. He has guys from his team that have offices, on campus there. He's running this program the way he wants. He gets merch with his own brand sold in the CU campus store, sold online, co-branded with CU. We are comfortable with him being bigger than the program, and that's why he's such a positive and perfect fit here. We'll let him do his thing. We'll let him get out. We'll get out of his way. Again, as a Denver sports fan, this is what we do. We allow our greats to come in here and run things. John Elway, Peyton Manning, Joe Sakic. We're comfortable with stars doing their thing, and this is something that, being a Colorado sports fan, we were used to and ready for. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Going to read a couple more comments here. Days to come, I think CU wouldn't play a big time school. I think you meant to type something else, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what you were going to say. Yeah, in terms of maybe, maybe in the Big-12 they're not playing a big-time school. Yeah, and again, like, that's kind of one of the big things. They don't, like, Oklahoma State is a good program, or Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, like, they've all had their moments, but none of them are Texas and OU. None of them are, let's be honest, like, none of them are what Oregon or Washington, can be at times, but definitely what Oregon is. But I think overall you're going to see the Big 12 continue to improve their product. Again, they're recovering from a big exodus of their main two programs, but they have enough going on with their media deal to where there's going to be stability. And, at the end of the day, man, like, I would love to play Oregon, but I think it's looking pretty likely that at some point within the next few years or whatever, they'll be in the Big Ten with Washington. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Bodie, what's up? I know you, you did get here a little late. I got to let all y'all go. But again, if you're, please check out the replay when this is done. And if you're a basketball fan, get in the description here. Let's Talk Hoops. That is my basketball channel. Posting my first video tomorrow, so please subscribe tonight. That way you can be the first ones to get on this, and we're going to grow that channel as well. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all tomorrow, and as always, Sko Buffs.